In the chaos of war, heroes rise and fall. Their names are etched in history. Their stories whispered through time. But how did they truly meet their end? Major Chukwuma Nzeogwu, one of the masterminds of Nigeria's first military coup, a fearless soldier and a man who believed in a united Nigeria. Major Motimote Onwuatuegwu, one of Biafra's most feared military officers, a commander whose name struck fear in the heart of enemies. But what really happened to them? Their deaths have been shrouded in mystery, surrounded by conflicting accounts. Today, we hear from a man who was there. Biafra's former Army Chief of Staff, Major General Alexander Madibo. In this exclusive account, Madibo reveals the chilling details of how these two men met their fate in the heat of the war. Hi guys, welcome to Afriverse Historic. On today's episode, we look into the controversial deaths of Major Nzeogwu and Onwuatuegwu. But first, let's explore the life of Major General Madibo, Biafra's former Army Chief of Staff. Do stay tuned and enjoy the ride. When Alexander Madibo joined the Nigerian Army in May 1954, the country was a colony of the British Empire. He had just finished from Government College, Umuahia, where he had emerged as one of the most promising students. The college, located in present-day Abia State, became a genius-making factory under the influence of colonial teachers. It produced the last chunk of the country's leading future economists, historians, poets, novelists, politicians, physicians, and many high-powered figures. While friends, acquaintances on graduation from Government College were drawing up career choices, young Alexander had already made up his mind to enlist in the army, then known as Nigerian Regiment's Royal West African Frontier Force. "I just like the army," he said, when he was asked about his motivation for heading in the direction of the barracks. "I was in Government College in Umuahia, influenced by Europeans a lot, and most were white teachers who had served in the Second World War. They encouraged the students to join the army. I was quite impressed, so I joined. At that time, the army was a new profession and people regarded it as the last and most terrible choice. For someone who had been judged to be one of the best graduates in his class in the highly respected colonial college, the idea of joining the army to many people, he recollected, was simply crazy. People were coming and coming to pay condolences to me," he said shockingly. "I wasn't reckless. I thought it was a good opportunity to go abroad and go around the world." His dream of going beyond the shores of the country came true after joining the Nigerian Army as an officer cadet. His military training was held at the Regulars Office Special Training School in Teshi, Gold Coast, present-day Ghana. Afterwards, he proceeded to Europe, where he studied at Eton Hall Officers Cadet School in Chester, England. The December of 1956 must have been a memorable one for the young Madibo, for that was the month he was commissioned into the Nigerian Army Artillery with the rank of a second lieutenant. Hey guys, I would love it to take us some time to like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it goes a long way in supporting our efforts. Thank you. Now let's get back to the video. When it was suggested that many young men in present times opt for the army as a last resort, Madibo politely disagreed. Madibo said, even with a first class, you may not be able to get into the army. The military continues to be a dangerous profession. There is no doubt about it, and for me, I may have escaped death very narrowly about 10 times or more. I have seen death inches away. The army is a good profession when you realize that you are an adventurous type of person, and you realize that the end will come at any time. To me, I knew it was dangerous, but I never expected the war. I still recommend the army," he said. "A soldier is very respected all over the world. No matter where you are, if you are a soldier, people look at you with less suspicion." And it was with little or no suspicion that the natives of Kaduna saw him when he assumed duties at the 1st Field Battery Artillery located there. Like many of his comrades, at the time of the country's independence on October 1st, 1960, Nigeria was a grand vision and was completely achievable, a project capable of redeeming the image of Africa and restoring the dignity of the black race. But the infant nation was not entirely without blemish. The problems of today were there, but they were not obviously recalled. Madiebo was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe's ADC in 1960. He knew Azikiwe very well. Madiebo was a captain then, and at independence, Azikiwe became the first Nigerian Governor General. He was not the president. He took over from the white colonial leader. At independence, Nigeria was a federation. The North, the West, the South, they had their own police commissioners and revenue collectors. Everybody was operating separately. The center was not important as such. Azikiwe felt that was freedom, but now that freedom is lost. I am sure that if he was alive, he will no longer be proud of Nigeria. Madiebo confessed that Azikiwe is much more experienced in politics than he did ever being. Madiebo was the commander of the Biafran army and didn't like Azikiwe's defection. Azikiwe made attempts to state his view in Biafra, but his views were not accepted. Madiebo declined going into details about it, but he said Ojukwu rejected whatever views Azikiwe had. Azikiwe had his own political solution to the crisis, and everybody was saying the best solution should be taken. But as you would expect, his views bordered on a peaceful resolution. The war was in full swing, Madiebo recounted. Drops bombing, and the authorities in Biafra thought that his views, not that they were bad, could not be accepted under the circumstances. What Azikiwe did was he decided to defect. The events leading to the most definitive moment in the country's history were triggered by a coup led by a group of majors who were dissatisfied with the manner the politicians were running the country. On the revolutionary night of January 15, 1966, marked politicians were assassinated and senior officers were gunned down. The frontman of the coup plotters was a major named Kaduna Nzeogwu. Madiebo knew Nzeogwu as an army officer. To say the sort of man he was could be misleading. Madiebo thinks that most of the time one must realize he was more of a northerner than an Igbo man. His name was Kaduna. It wasn't a nickname. Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu was born and bred in the north. He spoke Hausa better than majority of the northerners. He was a good officer and thought that the politicians were not doing well. He believed in one Nigeria so thoroughly that you were safer as a northerner with him than an Igbo man. Only a few times Nzeogwu came to his office. Madiebo was a senior officer to him anyway. He respected everyone, and during the war, he never fought for Biafra at all, Madiebo recalled. He fought against the north, but not for Biafra. When the war started, Nzeogwu was in jail. Then he was released. Nzeogwu didn't join the Biafran army. What he did was that he formed a group of guerrillas and went to the war front, ambushed and attacked enemy patrols and movements. He worked independent of the Biafran army, and civilians, university graduates, joined his team. On one occasion, they laid an ambush and the enemy were aware of it, surrounded and killed most of them. The report that got to Madiebo at the army headquarters was that Nzeogwu was wounded and that the enemy had taken him down to Nsukka, where they identified him. At that time, Major Kaduna Nzeogwu was the most wanted person in Nigeria for killing the Sardauna, the premier, during the coup of January 1966. There were different accounts of what happened to Nzeogwu, the captive. Some quarters proclaimed that he died at the rear. Others said he was taken from the rear to Kaduna, still alive, and that it was in the town that he was killed. Whether he died in Nsukka or Kaduna, his corpse was brought to Kaduna and the people were celebrating a public funeral, and everybody wanted to come and see who killed the Sardauna. But he never fought for Biafra one day, under the Biafran army. That is the gospel truth. He was just fighting for one Nigeria. He fought Ironsi. He fought Gowon. He felt Gowon wasn't the rightful head of state. He thought Gowon's reign was a coup too, so he was fighting it. He died fighting, not for Biafra. He just happened to be on the Biafran side, Madiebo said. Though the news of Nzeogwu's death spread across Nigeria like a tidal wave bore it, his demise was never officially acknowledged or announced by the Biafran government. He just came and died like a rumor, Madiebo noted. Every Biafran officer knew that Nzeogwu had been killed because they were all living together somewhere at Independence Layout in Enugu. If you go out and you don't come back, then something had happened to you. That was the army life during the war. People knew he died, but there was absolutely nothing official done about it. I did not get a confirmation from Ojukwu that Nzeogwu had died. Nzeogwu, however, wasn't the only officer on the Biafran side to have a controversial end. His colleague and fellow January 15 coup plotter, Captain Motimote and Onwuatuegwu, who not only found himself in Biafra after secession was declared, but equally fought for it and eventually rose to the rank of colonel, also died in uncertain circumstances. Whatever I tell you is what I heard. The report I had in Ivory Coast, where I departed for 48 hours to the end of the war, Mibo said. According to the Biafran intelligence in Ivory Coast, Onwuatuegwu, who incidentally went to the same school with me, Government College Umuahia, was a very good officer. In fact, he did so well in Sandhurst and fought well in the war. When the war ended, he should have been taken away with Ojukwu and myself. I don't know why he wasn't. He had a friend who went to Umuahia with me, Caleb Wankwo, who had come from America. The arrangement was that he would wait for Onwuatuegwu in Cameroon because it was too dangerous for him to fly in again. He sent a message to Onwuatuegwu to come out and meet him at a designated place in the Cameroon at the border near Ogoja. So Onwuatuegwu took off where he had been staying at Nnewi for a day or two. Soldiers had taken over the place. Along with his orderly, he took a vehicle loaded with wood and disguised as best as he could. When he got to a border town, they lodged in a hotel. Whether it was true or not, the orderly went out in the night and informed the Nigerian soldiers in town that such and such person was in the hotel. They came and captured him and brought him down by night to the prison at Enugu. I think they consulted and they decided to kill him there. This is the version Army headquarters got. When Mibo came back from exile in December 1975, he sent for this fellow who was supposed to pick him up at the border, and he confirmed the story. That was how he died, as far as Mibo knows. To Mibo, Onwuatuegwu wasn't just another officer. As an individual, the colonel was the officer closest to Mibo's family and had the fortune of being the godfather of the general's first son. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I would love to know your thoughts about the man Mibo and his account on the controversial deaths of Major Nzeogwu and Onwuatuegwu. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to smash a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification button to get more content like this about African history. It's been Nnamdi from Afriverse Historic. See you in the next video.